Senator James Inhofe is the ranking Republican on the Environment and Public Works Committee. We met with him in his office today to discuss energy and environment policy. Senator Inhofe, you favor an all-of-the-above approach to energy policy, but where would you start?
Those people who say we want to scrap any kind of fossil fuel, or they usually say coal, gas, oil, and nuclear, don't realize, or they do realize, but for some reason they don't say it, you can't run this machine called America without all four of those. That is necessary. Maybe someday, 20 years from now, they'll have what they call green energy, and we can do it that way. As it is right now, if we're going to be competitive, if we're going to keep a manufacturing base, we've got to have oil and gas and coal.
You also say in your op-ed that President Obama appears to suffer from an energy cataract. What did you mean by that?
Well, I think it's not being able to see what is necessary to run this machine called America. If you were to withdraw everything, as has been suggested by by himself and others around him, we would not be able to produce energy. And obviously, our jobs, our manufacturing base would go to where they can find the energy. Places like China and India and Mexico. And interestingly enough, if they did that, that would have the effect of increasing the amount of CO2 in the air, because our jobs would go to places that have no constraints on release of CO2.
You've called for a probe into global warming, and you've asked Vice President Gore to come and testify. Why do you want him to come to testify, and why do you want a probe?
If you heard the committee hearing that we just went through, we had Lisa Jackson there, and I read off all the things that now have been proven to be incorrect. All these things were in his movie. I think that's a very important thing to happen. But let's don't overlook what the real problem is. The problem is Congress, or the United States Senate, has refused to pass cap and trade. They're not going to do it. They might have 20 votes. They need 60 votes. So the president has said in a very arrogant way, all right, United States Senate, if you won't pass cap and trade, we will do it through an endangerment finding and let the EPA, under the clean air regulations, regulate it. Now, if you do that, you have to have an endangerment finding. That has to be based on science. And by her own admission, Lisa Jackson, who's the administrator of the EPA, has stated very clearly that it's the science that has been used for the regulations that she is promoting is all IPCC. That's the United Nations. That's what's been back behind this whole thing on global warming since 1988. So if you're basing it on science that is now determined to be flawed science, there are investigations going all over. The UK Telegraph, which is the largest publication in London, has said that this is the most serious scientific scandal in our generation. These are the things that are happening. And so that science on which all these assumptions have been based has now been junked.
There's not much agreement about anything on Capitol Hill these days. Do you actually think you can get a bill this year dealing with cap and trade, climate change, all those issues?
Oh, absolutely not.
Senator Reid says he wants a bill soon.
It is not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Not going to happen. The votes aren't there.
For The Hill, Emmanuel Toohey reporting.